So, how to manage eating out depending on what phase you are in. So, can you still eat out
Mm.
and lose fat? Yes, you definitely can, but I'm not going to pretend that it's easy, okay? Like, you definitely can lose fat while you're eating out. You just need to be aware of lots of things. So, it's possible with a strategy, not just hoping for the best. I explain dieting like saving money. You need to know, like, if you're going on a holiday and you're like, all right, I know I need $20,000 for that holiday, you can pull bits and pieces from elsewhere, but at the end of the day, that money needs to come from somewhere. The same, like, similarity comes to dieting. So, how to make it work in a calorie deficit. So, if your goal is fat loss, and I've put you in a fat loss
Oh, good to
deficit,
see. Shut the curtains, Charlie.
I haven't muted everyone. This is how we make it work. So, if you've only been with me, say, like in your first 4 weeks, you really want to try and keep your food as accurate as possible because we're usually trying to work out what's called your baseline calorie. So, we are trying to work out exactly how much food your body can tolerate. And if you're eating random meals here, there, and everywhere, it's really hard for us to really get a good insight as to how much food your body can actually handle. So, if you're with us with your first like 2 to 4 weeks, really try and minimize eating out to maximum once a week. We just need the data as to see like where your body is sitting because
The
say
chicken.
your body can really handle like 2,000 calories and we've like dieted you down too low. We don't have the data to analyze it. And if you're eating too many random meals, it's really hard for us to like work out the maths and the science. So step number one is with your first like 2 to 4 weeks, try and keep eating out to like once a week. So, if you're in a deficit mindset, this is a little phase of life. You do not want to live here forever. You want to get in, you want to get out, you want to do the work. Nobody wants to be living in this space for months and months and months and months at a time. Even if you have a big weight loss goal of like 40, 50 kilos, you need to come in and out of a deficit. It's really like tough on your brain and your body. So, you want to get in, you want to get out, you want to do the work, okay? I was make sure. Anyone else waiting room? Cool. Yeah, you want to get in, you want to get out, you want to do the work. You do not want to hang around here for too long. All right, how do I get rid of this? Cool. So I live with a chef. I know firsthand when Carl and I first started dating, what did you used to cook with?
It's definitely using like heaps of butter and oils and all that sort of stuff to flavor up your food. Obviously, from a chef's perspective, like butter is flavor, oil is presentation, and also in a lot of combination of sauces. They use it to like emulsify and all that sort of stuff. So there's like, yeah, heavy amounts of butter and oil that do go into sauces and foods, especially if you're eating out because everybody wants to eat something nice. So yeah, so these are pretty heavy in that aspect on those things.
And no amount like olive oil is very calorie dense. I don't care if it's chili oil, olive oil, there are so many calories in it. And when you're eating out, it's just really hard to control that environment. And Carl used to call it cooking with love. And I was like, yeah, you're going to give me a heart attack, the amount of like butter and oil. But I get it. It tastes really good. But it's just if you're in a dieting, it's really important that we do try and minimize this. So, to give you guys an idea, fats add up so quickly. For 1 gram of fat, it is 9 calories. 1 tablespoon of olive oil, which is what, 20 mils, 15 mils?
25 mils.
25 mils, it is 120 calories. That is like, it's literally like this much olive oil for 120 calories. And when you see what they put into your food to make it taste better, it is thousands. Like I had one of my girls the other day, I don't think she logged on. I was going through her food diary, and this is really important. So then I can put together the pieces for you guys for what's going on as to like why you're not getting the result that you're wanting. And she was really like, she's been stagnant for a while. And I said to her, your chili oil, I literally looked at her eggs. I said, that's 1,000 calorie meal in just your eggs. Because there was eggs. It was like drizzled and drizzled in chili oil. Then there was butter on the bread, and then there was avocado. So whilst you all think it's healthy, it adds up so quickly. So like butter, cream, sauces, like really like stealth calories. Although like it tastes good, but there's a time and a place to really think, all right, what are my goals at the moment? Like what do I want to achieve? So worst case, you actually can log things. And the way I get like a lot of the girls to do it is to backtrack and like log worst case scenario. So if you are logging your food and say, cool, you're wanting to go out to a restaurant for a chicken burger. What you would do is you would log it as a worst case scenario. So you would log it as like a McChicken burger.
Yeah, definitely opt for the higher calories. Like obviously no one is expecting you to go out and try and pick every ingredient that's in a
Mm.
meal because it would just be like it'd be out of control. So if you just put a description of like what you're eating, and if you can find one in there that's like everyone I know I've like done it before. I'm like chicken burger, 300 calories. Yes.
Like this.
Because the numbers don't count. But
These
I'm only lying to myself.
worst.
But yeah, if you are going to go like a little bit harder on the like, especially when in a deficit, always opt for the higher one. At least that gives you a bit of a buffer, like come later on in your other meals as well. So
Like I saw somebody log a ham and cheese croissant for 50 calories the other day. I was like, really? 50 calories? I was like, always opt for the higher one. Unless you have like you've got a really accurate mind. Just like log worst case scenario. And honestly, if it's a once off meal, some data is better than no data. You're way better off to overestimate than to lie to yourself, okay? So my fitness power strategy, and look, this is really necessary if like you're in a deficit and you're in the thick of a weight loss phase. This is how you do it. So you track before you go somewhere. So what a lot of the ladies do was like when they're early stages of learning how to track, they'll send me Morgan Juliet like menus. And they're like, okay, what is the like best case scenario for me? Like one of mum's clients, Fiona, sent me through a menu. She's like, look, I don't even like the food here. So I'm like, all right, just opt for like a steak, veggies, and like a side chips because it's easy to do. But if you're going somewhere that you really want to go to, track it before you go. Some data is better than no data. And say like you really wanted to go to Thai and you want like pad see ew, what you would do is you would go add in, and it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? If it's one or two meals, we're not aiming to be 1,000% perfect. But what you would do is you would type in pad see ew, the whatever one, the high volume one, and then you would work backwards from it. So when you're doing this strategy, all you want to do is aim for protein, then overall calories with this. It doesn't have to be perfect. To be honest with you, like majority of the week doesn't have to be perfect. You really want to aim for your protein, overall calories, and then you want to try and hit your fiber targets. But honestly, worst case scenario, if you haven't hit your protein, just aim for overall calories. So, if you're going to like family events, this is something that I see like a lot of you go to, which is fine. It's going to happen. What you want to try and do is, and I know this is being a little bit meticulous, but these are your goals, remember? And we want to try and minimize as many like random things as we can. Try and ask what that person is serving. So at least you have some idea as to what they're going to have. And then what you can do, you can backlog it as well. Like, all right, cool. You're like a lot of you guys like Italian, got big families. Like, all right, I want a lasagna. I would type in like just pick a random lasagna. It's like 500-600 calories. I would do that. If you're wanting like a cannoli, how do you say it? Cannelloni, I would type in that, and then I would work
I can
backwards.
see Michelle laughing.
Well, atrocious pronunciation.
Let's pick up the Italian comments to me.
So just ask what they have. And look, a lot of big families love to throw like their olive oils and stuff on here. And I get that you don't want to be rude. So what you'll do is essentially pick a little bit of what you want. Pick a little bit and then move on. Don't keep going back and grazing, because that's when you're going to get shot in the foot. So ask them to begin with. And then essentially pick around your plate. Have one a bit of a main, share a dessert, and opt for like a bigger serving of like salad, protein, and veg. But the biggest thing you can do is just ask, okay? So, also, when it comes to eating out, do not starve yourself first. Because if you are going to an event where you really like the food and you are starving, what is going to happen? You're going to be very prone to overeating. And a lot of people are like, oh, but I'm just going to backload my calories. It doesn't really work that well for everybody. What you can do sometimes is only if I have let you and I know you have the mental capacity to do this. Like I do allow this for some girls who I know have got absolutely no food issues at all. They're really accurate. Say like they're on like 1,800 calories every single day. If you know that you have like a big family event on, what you could do is you could go 1,600 calories for say 3 days. And then that's given you an extra 600 calories to then use over the weekend.
Basically, calorie banking.
It's calorie banking. You can do that. You definitely can. If you're not the person to be all in or nothing, I'm like, well, I'm just going to borrow like all these calories so I can binge on the weekend. No. And like I said initially when we jumped this call, I have different methods for everybody. And this can work really well. Say, like, you're in the thick of work and it's really easy for you to stick to, cool, then you can do that. But only if you stay within your allowances of a weekend. So the biggest thing is when you have events on, do not starve yourself first. You want to aim to at least like try and hit your protein target. And a little trick before you go to events is have a little meal before you go, whether it's a shake, a salad, a wrap, something in your stomach before you go out. So you're not prone to, oh my God, I'm starving. And then you want to eat everything. Try and eat something that's got like high volume protein and fiber as a little bit of a pre-snack. Now, the alcohol reality, and I'm really sorry to burst so many of your bubbles. I would rather you eat your calories and drink them, especially when you're in a calorie deficit. Okay, so to give you an idea, one standard glass of wine is 150 calories. That is one standard wine. One standard vodka is around 70. So if you are going to drink vodka, it's probably a better option. But what you can do, it is
And a quicker night.
quicker not. Like, look, vodka is a better option. It's got less carbs in it, so less calories overall in it. But and I totally get, like, some of you, your like downfall is you will love like a glass or two of wine. So can you include it when you're in a deficit? You can. The way you do it is, and no tracking app will allow you to track alcohol. There is nothing on the market at the moment because you've got your proteins, you've got your carbs, you've got your fats, and then you've got your alcohol. Alcohol is separate. For every 1 gram of alcohol is 7 calories. And things like wine and cocktails, you've got your alcohol content, then you have your carbohydrate content as well. But if you're being meticulous, you're in the thick of a deficit phase, you want to get in, you want to get out, what you would do is you go 150 divided by 4 is around 40. So you would subtract it off your carbohydrates or your fats. Never, ever your protein, ever. When you're drinking, you actually need your protein to be a little bit higher because alcohol slows down what's called protein synthesis. It slows down your body's ability to repair. It stunts muscle growth. If you have any hormonal issues, it just wreaks havoc for you. If you're not sleeping properly, it's going to really make that a lot worse. What it does is it affects your REM sleep. It slows down fat loss because when you're drinking, your body views it as a toxin and it wants to break it down first. Theoretically, if you're still in a calorie deficit, yes, you will get a similar result, but it doesn't mean it's not going to affect all other aspects. So the biggest thing is when you're in a deficit, you're like, all right, I know I just want to lose some weight. I want to get in, I want to get out. It's best to just eliminate it for as much as you can because you're going to get a better result. You're going to feel better. You're going to look better. You're going to feel leaner, more toned. It's easier to include a couple of glasses here and there when you're in a maintenance phase and you're on like a bit more food. But say you're in a calorie deficit of say 1,600 calories and you're trying to subtract like 40 grams of carbs and you're only on 1,600 calories, like that doesn't really leave much room for error. And
Basically 3 drinks.
literally, like,
About 3
and to give you an idea, cocktails can be like between 500 to 800 calories. Because say you've got like 2.5 shots of just alcohol, and then you add the soft drink, and then you add the juice and every other bits and pieces that go in there.
Sugar syrup.
Sugar syrup, yeah, you can ask them without sugar syrup. If you guys are cocktail girls, you can do that. But it's just one of the things, like if your goal is fat loss, I'm not a hard ass about a lot of things, but the alcohol thing I am because I want you to sleep properly. I want you to recover. I want you to feel great. I want you to look lean and I want you to be able to train hard. And if drinking too much, it's just like you're just going to keep turning the wheels and it's going to really hinder your results. So if you go over your calories, say like, oh my God, you did stuff up. You're like, oh my God, what do I do? I would just prefer you to move on from it. If you really like accidentally stuffed up and you've like legitimately like, oh my God, I didn't realize, honestly, it is one meal. We can just move on from it. Okay. You're not broken. Don't starve yourself. If you get into the like habit of, oh, I'm going to restrict myself so many calories, honestly, just accept it, move on and just start your day as per normal because a lot of people get into this mindset of, oh my God, I've like blown my whole day. So I'm going to restrict calories from here. Just accept it. Okay. It's one meal. We'll work out the hows and whys. I will go over it with you, but honestly, just move on from it. It's literally just one meal. It's if you keep going like, oh my God, well, fuck it. I've like ruined my whole day. And then I'm like, well, I'm going to go out for breakfast. I'm going to get a croissant and then I'm going to do this. That's when we have issues. Okay. It is one meal in the grand scheme of things. Like it's not going to break you. Now, if you're in like a reverse phase, build phase, more maintenance phase is what I like to call it. Yes, you will have more food and not as much like stress, but you still want to be mindful. And a lot of people will get stuck when they're in like a build phase or on heaps of calories. It depends on the type of person that you are, but it is still like not a free for all. You want to still be mindful. You want to aim to at least hit protein when you're in this phase. Oop, sorry. No, what did I do? Oh yeah, sorry. I always do something. Always. So if you're in a build phase, yes, if you are on a lot more calories, like there are many ladies in our container who are on like 2,500, 3,500. So you guys got a little bit more wiggle room, okay, when it comes to eating out because your body can actually handle it. Like Carl looks at me, he's like, I just don't know how you can eat so much food. It's because like a lot of us have been working at it for a long time, and when you have more muscle, your muscle is a carbohydrate sponge. It's like I'm doing a post on this later this week, but if you've worked hard in the maintenance period and you have more muscle on your frame, you actually have the ability to eat more food. It's pretty cool when you look at it that way, and when you've been through a maintenance build phase. Like, oh my gosh, like Morgan is like 5'2", the smallest human in the world. She's like on 2,300 calories, but when you're eating out and you're in a maintenance phase, you still want to be mindful, okay? And this is a lot of people will
Mm.
go rogue because like, oh, well, I've finished my dieting phase and I can eat what I want. Absolutely not. Your body's not used to that much food just yet. It takes a little bit to train it to handle it. So let's talk eating healthy when you're eating out. Just because it sounds healthy, it doesn't mean it fits your fat loss goals, okay? So, granola, it really can be like an absolute calorie bomb unless Carl makes it because his granola is actually fairly low calorie. When you're eating like eggs at cafes, to be honest, if you go to a cafe and order eggs, it's probably one of the better things, but order it as like a single item food. If your goal like is a deficit, and even so, you can do like eggs, toast, avocado on the side, oil on the side, because they're usually drowning in butter,
Mm.
chili oil.
You want me to go into the
Yeah,
sources?
yeah.
So anybody that like loves their eggs Benedict, like I know I do. I'll go and eggs Benedict any day. That the hollandaise sauce is literally egg yolks, which is the fattiest part of the egg, and then that is combined with clarified butter. So clarified butter is just pure butter. It's got all the buttermilk taken out of it. It is like pure oil. You can make candles from it and it'll burn for ages.
You saw that we're gonna do that.
Um, but these two together are super high in fat. Super delicious sauce, super high in
Mm.
fat.
Mm.
So definitely opt for those sort of things on the side, especially like look, I know like you go eggs Benny with salmon and avocado, mate, you're done. Done. Um, but yeah, so like as often as you can, opt for your like dressings or sauces on the side. That way you can like add a little bit at a time if necessary. When you go out, like obviously having salads, like salads when like especially say a chicken Caesar salad, again, the sauces are made from oil and egg yolks. Again, this is just and then obviously the emulsifier is
Mm.
mustard, but these are all like warm or cold emulsion sauces, which means they basically mean when they're trying to bring together some like two items that can't usually be brought together, like eggs and oil. But yeah, it's massive high fat content. A whole heap of other ingredients go into that as well. Like you've obviously got your cheeses that go along with it. Um, so yeah, just be very careful with those. That's
Yeah,
all.
and like Carl said, a lot of people think that salads are the better option when half the time they actually aren't. If you look at what's going into it, like some better options are like steak, grilled fish. Like this is really if you're trying to be like meticulous. Like steak are a better option, grilled fish, chicken, and like opt for like mash and chips on the side. So then you can control it. I'm not saying you can't eat these things. I'm just saying just to be aware. And a lot of people will think, well, a salad's a healthier option. Sometimes they are. But when you know like what goes into them, you're like, oh my God, I could have had like a Macca's meal for the same amount of calories.
Yeah, it's just it's really making those smart choices where you probably wouldn't be used to it before because you would go out and someone would be like, oh, I'm not going to eat that much. I'll just have the salad. It's just like, well, you've probably consumed
Yeah.
an extra 300 calories on top of the person that's having the steak and veg with sauce on the side. Like they're yeah,
Yeah, and you're
they're
better off in that
secret
instance
killers.
to have a little bit of something what that you want to say if you're going overboard like later. And like if you're going out to dinner, share a dessert. Like you're better off doing that and like restricting yourself so hard than going and binge eating a block of chocolate later because you were so restrictive. Like there's a time and a place, and learning what is healthy versus from a caloric perspective are actually two really different things. Like the good old acai bowl. The amount of calories in these is like mind blowing, especially when you add like condensed milk, peanut butter, all those types of things, all the almonds and stuff that go in them. Like, yes, they are healthy fats, but they are loaded with calories. Like,
Yeah, unless you're getting like the straight acai extract, which you can get from like health stores and all that sort of stuff, which they are that like they have a lot of nutrients and they aren't too bad. It's what they mix it with after that. Because a lot of them are mixed with either another sort of frozen yogurt or like other like frozen berries with sugar as well, just to get that sweetness, so it keeps people coming back.
mm. And look, it just comes down to knowing like what are better options versus like what isn't. It's really like breaking down like your belief systems. Like, well, acai bar is a healthy option. That's like you could almost have like a almond croissant with less calories and that. So it's just like learning to be aware, not to ever be afraid of food. And I never want people to be afraid. It's just having that awareness. And if you've got goals to achieve, learning when to pull forward, when to pull back, and what are better options. And the good old olive oil, which I keep going on about because it's 120 calories per tablespoon.
I think, sorry, oils across the field, whether it be coconut oil, rapeseed oil, sunflower oil,
Canola oil.
basically any oil. If it's got oil per tablespoon is 120
No
calories,
matter where it comes from.
no matter where it comes
I
from.
don't care if it's seed oil. And by the way, they actually aren't as bad for you as what you think. It's honestly, I will send you guys the actual research on this. The amount of it is so minuscule. It's like, and this is where a lot of you are afraid about
Mm.
additives, chemicals, and other fears. Like, so many of you are afraid of all this shit that's like circulating social media. When majority of you get to eat out 2 times a week, and you will have absolutely no idea of the chemicals and additives that other people are putting in your food. Absolutely no idea.
Yeah, if you actually have a like a breakdown of the chemical names that are actually in the nutrients of anything, you'll find most of them are pretty common. Like across apples, bananas, avocados, all those sort of things are all natural products that that are labeled as chemicals because people can't read the names of them, so they think that they're bad for them.
And honestly, like a lot of people are like, well, I want to eat only organic. One of my really good friends runs a fruit shop, runs like a wholesale fruit and veg market. And I sat down and asked him, he's like, it is really just a big markup. He's like, the quality control of it's really hard to do, number one. It's really hard for people to actually do completely organic things. And even then, they're not done properly. And especially like the Australian market, it's not what you think it is. Like, obviously, eat whole foods where you can. And I'm always going to have the 80% whole food, 20% soul food. But so many of you are scared of like chemicals and additives, or oh no, I can't have that. Like, okay, like for instance, like, oh, I want to have like full fat cheese instead of light cheese because I'm scared of what's in it. I'm like, well, you drink like almond milk and oat milk and normal milk, and you have coffee out and you go to dinner with your friends and you have a wine, but you don't care then. But why all of a sudden you're like demonizing the poor cheese? Like, it's just really breaking down your mindset to everything contains chemicals, even your clean foods. Like, you're scared of protein bars, but you're smashing like takeout and wine like twice a week. Like, it's like pick and choose your battles. Like, if you want to be that person wholeheartedly, but don't pick and choose it depending on who you're around and what you're doing. Like, I really like, I was a bodybuilder a long time ago, and I used to only eat clean foods, and that's what got me stuck into binge eating so badly because I was so scared to deviate from things so many times. And it's when you understand food from like a scientific level where a little bit of chocolate is okay. Like your diet Coke is better than your full Coke. That is also okay. It's got like 100 less grams of sugar in it. But it's all in like portion control. So don't be scared of a protein bar or like a bit of like processed pasta sauce, especially if you're like drinking and smashing takeout.
Yeah, I think the latest craze is all
The seed oil.
the insulin spikes.
Oh,
Everyone's crazy about the insulin spikes. Look, unless you're diabetic, it doesn't really matter.
And even like I train a lot of diabetics. I have quite a few diabetics on my book. And it's even with them like learning that, okay, protein's going to help blunt it, but still not being like afraid of things. Too much sugar in general, if you're having like, say, a whole tub of ice cream is going to make your insulin spike and crash, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like everybody needs insulin. Every single carbohydrate is insulin. The way the body digests it, it turns into glycogen anyway. It's like really trying to understand food from a scientific level, breaking through the bullshit. And there is so much bullshit in this industry at the moment. Like every time I log into Instagram, it's like, oh, insulin spikes. Oh, you're scared of like seed oils. Oh my God, carnivore. You can't eat like carbs. I'm like, you're literally eliminating whole things for people. Like, no wonder people are so scared to eat because every time you open up your phone, there is another thing. And it is all marketing. Everybody is trying to make money for it, make you scared of something so you buy their product or so you don't eat a product. It comes down to really looking at food, what you want to achieve, and just learning the basics. And just ask me and Carl, like, what your thoughts are, like, and what whether a product is good, whether a product is bad. Like, I will be really honest. And something that I do hate is the sugar-free lollies. What are they called? The ones that I hate.
Oh, there's the good old-fashioned double
The
D's.
double no, what's that
Fun,
brand that
fun,
everybody has at the moment?
is it fun?
Fun Day Sunday, Fun
Fun
Day
Day
Sunday.
Sunday.
This is something I will say be very careful of, okay, in this instance. So a lot of the like fake sugar-free lollies are going on at the moment. A lot of sugar-free products have what's called sugar alcohols in them, okay? And a sugar alcohol is a pretend carbohydrate that your body can't break down, disguised as fiber. Because a fiber is what you call a non-active carbohydrate. So when you eat fiber, your body doesn't absorb it as energy. It pushes it down your intestines, helps you go to the bathroom. Fiber is really important. But sugar alcohol is a gray zone. And if you smash a lot of these lollies, you are going to be on the toilet for days. You are going to be bloated. It's going to cause havoc with your gut. Those things are something that you should be wary of. Like, I'm all big for moderation and portion control. But if you want a lolly, just eat a bloody real lolly. Like, you're actually better off doing that. Like, Diet Coke is different. Diet Coke doesn't have sugar alcohols in it, so that's a bit of a different story. But the actual products that are like the double D's, the Sunday Fun Days, honestly, just eat the real
You
thing.
used to be able to only get the double D lollies in the chemist.
Yeah.
It was just like, if you're buying anything from a chemist, it's because you're probably sick.
Yeah. And it's like I was people like legitimately they're marketed to oh, they're the healthy lolly. And this is where like understanding food labels does become important because I have like people like, well, I can't have a real lolly, so I'm gonna smash these. I'm like, you're gonna be literally fighting yourself for days because they cause the worst gastric up. Your body can't process that.
Better off drinking the water in Bali.
That's just something to be like mindful of. If you've got questions about it, like just ask me. Honestly, just eat the real lolly. So, not everybody needs the method of being super meticulous when it comes to tracking everything that hits your mouth in a deficit phase, okay? I have a lot of ladies that will come to me with overeating, binge eating issues who will want to legitimately lose a lot of weight. And sometimes that can be a little bit triggering for them to be able to track every single meal. Because if you go over one meal, that can for some people, it does lead to a little bit of restricting. So what I will then approach it that way is I want you to be able to go out to dinner with your partner and I don't want you to track it. I want you to go and learn how to make good choices that you are proud of, that it's not going overboard, that it's also not restricting yourself either. Because sometimes when you do restrict yourself so much, it does lead to overeating. And like, whilst you definitely can include like some of your favorite meals, it is good to get into the mindset of practicing to eat like a normal person. Because the aim of the game is to not use MyFitnessPal for your whole life. It is a tool to get you a certain result. It is a tool to make you aware of what exactly you're eating. And some of you have got no idea because you don't know. And you don't know what you don't. It's like you're trying to pull money and you've got no idea what's coming in. And that's where, if you have been super meticulous and I can see that you're a little bit too strict on yourself, I'll say, I want you to be able to go out this weekend, not use MyFitnessPal, and be really proud of the food choices that you made. That you could share an entree with your partner, you shared a dessert, you really liked it, you were happy. They're the things that you actually really want to be able to like do long term. But I have different methods for everybody. I like the meticulous macro tracking if you're somebody that is really like great at it. You do have big goals to make you aware and just so you actually know what's going in and going out. But like I said, I do have different ways that I do this. So Fat loss is like budgeting. You need to know where the calories are coming from, so then I know what is going out. And if you're a person who's like, I love my food flexibility, and you're eating out like 3 or 4 times a week, you are making it really hard for me or your coach to know where the hell all this food is coming from. And if the goal is fat loss, okay, eat out once, maybe twice a week. Breakfasts are way easier to handle because at least you can do the single serves and it's easier to handle. But if you're not losing weight and you're drinking 3 or 4 glasses of wine a week, you're having breakfast, you're having dinner, you're having takeout, and you're like, well, why haven't I lost weight this week? Well, that's like thousands of calories. I have no idea that has gone into you. So you want to do the work, you want to get in, you want to get out. But when you're in a maintenance phase, it doesn't need to be that meticulous. You can go out to dinner and be like, cool, I'm happy with that. And you want to have that mindset around good food choices, but to still have that structure. What got you to lose weight is going to be the same structure and method that's going to get you to maintain it, just in higher amounts of foods. When you're in a maintenance phase, you don't have to be super meticulous with everything. Like you want to track your protein. The way I do it with my girls who are like in a higher amount of food, track your food once a week and then rinse and repeat. You know, you should have that knowledge to know what 100 grams of chicken looks like by then. Or if your kids want a different meal, cool, swap it out. You don't need to know, you don't have to track everything then. But you need to have the knowledge to get there first.
It does come over time.
It does come over time. It's a skill. And it's a skill that does take a little bit to get. And you don't have to be super meticulous with everything, but what isn't measured isn't managed. And sometimes you just need to know a few things. So practice it now, today or later. I make some clients practice eating out a deficit. Why? Because it teaches you how to handle real food in real life because nobody is perfect. And you do not want to live your life out of Tupperware containers. Nobody wants to do that. You want to be able to go out with your partner, with your kids, and still enjoy life. That's what it's about. So you do want to be able to practice going out to social situations. You just need to know,
What?
you just need to have the willpower when to
What?
pull forward, when to pull back, and what is the most important thing for you at that given time. But you do need to practice going out and living like a
What?
normal person. You just need to know the best ideas for you and when to pull forward, when to pull back. So
My
this is just
sisters are
about
asleep.
creating awareness for you guys. So
Where's your milk bottle?
so you know what to do, I'm trying to mute someone. So you know what to do and you can make
Sorry.
intentional choices. I want you to
Okay.
go out being aware of what you're eating and how you're eating it and being proud of the decisions that you made. I was a horrific binge eater for a really, really long time, and I know what that feels like. But I also know what it feels like to live in the gray zone, to actually be able to go out to dinner and not worry so much anymore. Because I've built that
Did you have to detax after you were a binge eater?
Me? No, not at all. When I the how I got out of binge eating was a lot to do with Carl, and it was a lot to do with not living in food.
Lucky you had a supportive partner
I
who
went
helped you get out of it.
well, prior to Carl, I went to a lot of therapy for a long time. Um, and I was really aware of I literally ate the same 6 foods on repeat for 18 months and I was competing. Like I was the most rigid, compliant dieter you have ever seen. Like ask my mom, I would literally have the same thing on repeat and I would become like a psychopath if somebody ate my food. Like I would like You've never seen somebody like lose the plot when somebody would like. I
Mhm.
had a sister with a lot of eating issues at the time, and if she like ate my food or ate my protein, I was like a maniac. And then when I was competing, what I did was I had this drawer of all these snacks that I wanted to eat after my
Oh,
show. And I would add to them and add to them and add to them. I don't know if my mom remembers. Mom would have to remember this. Anyway, my sister ate these lollies that I'd wanted, and I like bawled my eyes out for days. Like I made her go and buy me another packet from like this special English shop because that's how like OCD I was. But that is not the way to live. And this was before like I knew how to track my food. I had a coach who wrote me a meal plan and said, stick to this for 20 weeks. And that's what I did. I did what I was told. That's a bit of OCD in me. But after I competed for a few years in a row, I couldn't control it. I would literally, like, I would think about food 24/7. I would think about the next binge. I would go and buy a box of chocolate in my car and hide it. Like, any excuse that I could find, I would do, like, oh, I'm going to start again tomorrow. I'm going to do heaps of cardio tomorrow. And it wasn't until I went back and studied sports nutrition for a few years to really understand food from a scientific level, because that's what made me be able to process it. But also, if you look at the way habits are formed, and long story short, we saw a family psychiatrist for a bit for me and my sister, but a habit loop starts creating. So when you associate a certain feeling with a certain habit, and you do something and you do it again and you do it again and you do it again, it creates that habit pathway. And then it becomes really, really hard to break. And that's why I know I can relate to so many of you. When you feel a certain emotion, you're going to eat. Or if you're like an ADHD type brain, like, oh, I'm eating for like the texture, and like chocolate is very addictive. It just can happen. So I get it. But that's why I'm really big on not restricting yourself, but having a few rules and structure in place within flexibility. There is a time and a place for everything. And that's why I'm really passionate about setting yourself up for a dieting phase that's going to be effective, because nobody wants to be in a dieting phase for longer than a couple of months. And even then, I'll bring you up to maintenance and drop you back down. But you want to do the work, you want to get in, you want to get out, and then you want to learn how to maintain on a lot more food. That's where you want to live. But if you want to do a dieting phase, don't fuck around too long and eating like and drinking your calories, because you're going to have to stay there for longer. It's not worth it. Like, you're better off doing the work, get in, get out. Cool. And dieting's not the funnest thing. You're going to get hungry, you're going to get irritable. Yes, you can include your favorite things. 100% you can. But for some people, your calories do have to get low. And I mean, to me, I think 1600 calories is almost starvation. But in that case, you want to opt for, instead of say pasta, you would opt for spud-like potatoes, because they're going to fill you up for longer, so you're not going to be as hungry. There is learning smart swaps. What is worth it and what is not? What are your goals? What do they mean to you? And what habits do you need to change in order for you to get there? Does that make sense? So you're not just tracking your calories, you're learning how to lead yourself, even when no one else in the house is on board. Like, these are your goals, and you shouldn't let other people dictate what you do and what you don't do. People are like, oh, macro tracking is so restrictive. Well, do you track your money? Like, it's a tool to get a certain result. Do you have to do it forever? No. Are there other ways to do it? Yes. But can you actually understand it from a scientific level by tracking your food? Absolutely. And wouldn't you rather have that skill set where you lose the weight, you maintain it, you're building muscle, and then you get to a stage of maintenance where you don't really need to track your food very often anymore, maybe like once or twice a month, just so you know you're hitting the protein mark, because you still meal prep, you still do the things, because that's your habit, that's your routine, that's your life, that's what got you the body that you want and love. That's the same routine that's going to get you to be able to maintain it. It's like whatever you do in life, to be able to achieve a certain skill set, you need to work on it and continually do it and continually work at it, because that's the person that you want to be. So it comes down to thinking about the person that you want to be, the habit and mindset that requires you to get there, and what does that person look like? Do they say yes to every single event that they go to? I'm going to have dessert, I'm going to have chocolate, I'm going to have a bottle of wine. Does that person reflect, if you're doing that 3 or 4 times a week, somebody who is health conscious and somebody who cares about what they want to do with their body and how they want to feel the next day? Or is that a person who gives in to everybody else around them because that's what they think that they should be doing, but not what you want to be doing? And I think, if I'm really honest, like, it took me a lot to learn that. And I was a heavy drinker for a really long time. I used to think that people would only like me because I'm a bit of an awkward person if I was drinking. And I found it really hard in social situations. And Carl will always say to me, God, you're awkward when you go out. And if you get me out of my fitness people, I'm even worse. And I would use alcohol as a mechanism for me to let loose and be able to talk to people outside of my realm. But that was such an unhealthy relationship to have, that I had to really learn to be able to sit with the uncomfortable feeling. And to this day, I will really struggle unless Carl is with me, because he's a chameleon. He can talk to anyone. He's like the best person to take to an event, because he just can, and I'm like sitting there going, oh, do you go to the gym? Like, I'm really like awkward, but it takes a lot to just learn to live with that. And there are like certain people that I gel with and certain people that I don't, but I'm just okay with it. I'd rather wake up the next day not having a hangover. And I'm the worst hungover eater you have ever seen. Like, there was a reason that I was 40 kilos heavier. Like,
Maria worst food is picking at food when it's cooking. Holly does that. She doesn't cook, but she picks.
Making snacks and packing leftovers. And I say to the mums who really struggle with this first, make your own food first and then do the kids, so then you're not prone to like packing and snacking. But it's just you becoming aware of those habits and be like, okay, I know I am doing this, but what can you put to stop it from happening? What can you put in the place there to stop it from happening?
Yes, maybe like if you do find yourself snacking and eating, maybe when you are doing your food prep, plan to have a meal around that period. So you've got a meal there. So you're not necessarily going off to the side of what you've just cooked. and eating all that and not being able to track it. You've got a tracked meal there. You eat that, and you can pack everything away. Yeah, that would be a small tip that I would.
Yeah, make sure you feed yourself or feed yourself with the kids as well. Like so many of you struggle with like I call it mum tax. Like you just take like bits and pieces of your kids' food. And Morgan will always say, try and make sure you're eating with them to avoid you picking and making something different. We're actually doing a catch-up chat next Thursday where Morgan's going to go over all the really, really good like mum tips because she's very routined when it comes to her kids, her family. She doesn't have any support. So she is the absolute super mum when it comes to this. But she will always say, like, make sure you eat with them so you're not eating something different, or make sure you're not starving when you're making other food. The same goes when you're grocery shopping. No, do not go grocery shopping starving. That is a recipe for absolute disaster. Always go before you eat. Always eat before you go. But like when I say to be meticulous with your tracking when you are in a calorie deficit, I am well aware that it can really create a binge restrict mindset because I was that person for a really long time. Like, well, fuck, I blew over my calories. I ate a pizza. I had ice cream. I'm just going to cut my calories back tomorrow. And then I would start this vicious cycle of going under and going over and just trying to pull back calories from somewhere. When in reality, if it's one meal, accept it, move on, start again. You're way better off being in that mindset unless I have told you to calorie bank and I know that you're a person that can handle it and that can go into an event intentionally making good choices. And this is where everybody's mindset is really different. And I've got a few of you at the moment who have been trying to restrict yourself so hard on the weekend. And I will say, do not even use MyFitnessPal. I don't want you to touch it. I need you to be able to go to events with your kids and learn how to make good decisions that you are proud of. And when you can do that, when you have earned the right to not be all in or nothing, then we can revisit tracking your weekends. But you have to get out of the mindset of, well, shit, I went over, so I'm going to restrict so hard the next day. I'm not going to eat much during the week because you're just going to keep going around and round in circles. And if this happens, live in a maintenance phase for a while. I think a lot of you really underestimate the power of living in a world of maintaining and being happy where you are, because that's actually where you make the most progress. You will build more muscle. You will be able to eat more food. You will be able to go to more events without being super meticulous because you've got the mindset of you can pull back if you want to. Do I want to have that wine? Not really. Do I want to feel shit tomorrow? Probably not. But I'm a big foodie. I love to go out to dinner with Carl on the odd occasion. I'd rather do that than to drink. It just comes down to what is worth it for you, what your goals are, and how to manage that. But if your goal is fat loss and you're trying to eat out 20 times a week, you're making it really hard on yourself because you don't know. And that's the hardest thing. You're better off making food at home, structured. Doesn't have to be meticulously tracked, no, but it's going to have a lot less calories than like a steak that's got like 4 tablespoons of butter in it. Does anybody have any questions? Let's open the floor.
So I'm just watching Georgia struggle with this sauce. It's nearly there. Okay, that was great.
Can I ask with the wine?
Yeah.
It might be a stupid question, but is homemade just as much in calories?
Yeah.
Really? Even though it's got no preservatives, it's got nothing in it.
Preservatives got no calories.
Yeah, it's not the preservatives.
Oh.
Better the next day. You will wake up feeling fresher. Like I have had preservative-free wine before, and I've woken up feeling much better than I have crappy. Not that I'm really.
Oh, I don't know. Our one, you don't.
But it's still the same calories, and that's why I said like a lot
I
of
thought it would be less.
Depends how it's made, like how many grapes and stuff are put in it. Like
well, you're still adding sugars and all that sort of stuff throughout the fermentation process. So.
Yeah.
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 And a lot of you are scared of sugar. And let me explain a carbohydrate. A carbohydrate and a sugar are the same thing, okay? They are the same thing. They are all broken down your body into what's called glycogen. And your muscle is a glycogen store. The more muscle you have, the more carbohydrates you're going to be able to eat. But in saying that, you're like, well, I'm so scared of sugar. But yet you'll drink wine and wine's got that much sugar in it, it's carbohydrates. Or it's like, I'm scared of sugar, but you'll eat like sweet potatoes. It's the same thing. It just comes down to the fiber content. And honey versus an apple are two different things because the fiber content, but it actually is broken down your body into a carbohydrate anyway. And it's really breaking through that mindset, oh, that's like got sugar in it. I'm scared of fruit. But it's still a carbohydrate. It's like $1 is $1, a kilo is a kilo. It's the same value. It is what the fiber content and the vitamins and minerals that make it a healthier option, but it doesn't mean you need to be scared of sugar.
Also,
Then
has-
why does a lot of people then say that Coke to Diet Coke or like Coke Zero, you're actually better off drinking like a glass of normal Coke opposed to
It's actually,
No.
that's not
that's
true.
all rubbish.
You're better off drinking
Keep
the
talking
Diet
about this
Coke.
ingredient that's in it. That's really bad.
Aspartame.
Aspartame.
That's
But this
it.
is again, aspartame is also found in tomatoes. It's got a higher concentrate than what it is in tomato. I'll send you guys a few like
Huh.
yeah, and this is where it really comes down to like knowing food from a science level, and this is where people will get you on this because so many things are like this. Well, in reality, a full kind of normal Coke has got 150 calories and like 50 grams of sugar.
Mm.
Sure, that is sugar will not make you feel full, and that is the difference between like a
No,
sugar.
you don't. You want more and more every time you drink it.
Exactly. And that's like because you don't feel full from it. And that's a problem of like highly palatable foods versus fiber foods, because something like a full strength Coke is not going to fill you up. Whereas you could have for the same value 500 grams of Spud Light potatoes, that's going to fill you up.
Mm.
But in terms of like a caloric value, it's the same thing. But obviously the potatoes got fiber, more micronutrients, but in terms of breaking down in your body, it will all end up the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that say a lot of things, and this is
And
literally
that's what's confusing.
It's so
Yeah.
confusing.
this is where it sort of like it goes back to like chemical and molecule breakdowns in food, where all of these natural items will actually contain these things because they're just naturally occurring things. It's only that they have to label them as what they are in the drinks for like manufacturing. That is it.
Mm.
And, like they're not going to say artificial sweetener from tomatoes. They're just going to give you
The chemical compound of
the
it, yeah.
chemical compound breakdown because it's the simplest term.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have bottles that are like 3 meters tall with a compound list of every fruit and vegetable that it comes from.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are just chemical breakdowns in their purest form, and they have to label them.
And there's so much fear around the moment because people are going told like, oh no, you can't have this and you can't have that. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
what is the better way to do it? It's like trying to make good choices for yourself, but understanding food from a science and a caloric value is the best way to go about it. Like, and it's like, is organic best? But whole foods are always going to be better for you. Like, I go 80% whole food, 20% soul food because you want the vitamins and minerals, you want the fiber, you want to feel good. And this is where the flexible dieting world can really get it wrong because can you fill your macros up with shit and still get a result? Yes. But are you going to feel great? Absolutely not. Your skin will be bad. Your hair is going to be bad. You're not going to function as well. So that is why, yes, you want to have 80% whole foods, but 20% soul foods as well. And also, if you're tracking macros to calories are two very different things because of what you call the thermic defect of food. And that is why I harp on about protein all the time. Because if you get two people tracking, one that's tracking calories and saying having 50 grams of protein, you're having 2,000 calories, and you've got one person on 2,000 calories but is having 150 grams of protein, this person is actually going to be burning more calories at rest because it costs your body 30% of the energy from protein to break it down. Whereas carbohydrates and fats, I think it's only 20.
So have you heard this thing that I've been watching it on? There's a lot of like influencers coming up and saying, a lot of trainers as well. If you're following like your protein, they say to add, I think it's a 0 onto whatever protein. So say if it's like 10 grams of protein and it's saying add a 0 onto that, if that is higher than the calories that particular food contains, then that means it's a good source of protein. Have you heard that?
I think I have heard that. It's
Does
just,
that make any sense?
it's just, you don't want to confuse yourself so much. And if you,
I know, I'm getting confused.
and I feel like if you go into the depths so much, you're gonna get really confused, and you're gonna be like, "Well, is this good? Is this good?" Like,
No, because I'm at the shops now looking at this thing and I'm thinking, oh my God.
you just want to aim to hit your protein intake consistently over the day. And somebody, well, what's a good snack? Well, what's a good snack is what's going to fill you up and stop you from eating crap later on. Like a good snack is something that you like, that is filling, that you can eat in between work, that you will feel satisfied for. Sometimes that might not necessarily have a whole lot of protein in it. Sometimes it might just be designed to fill you up for a little bit longer. Like I will give like a bit of peanut butter and apple to a lot of people all the time because it's going to fill them up. It only has like 4 grams of protein in it, but it's still a good snack for them. And some
So
people,
like
sorry?
what I've been doing with when I go to the shops and I look at the nutrition content, I used to turn to the back, look at it, and straight away go calories, right? But now what I find myself doing is I'll go to the back of a product and I'll look at how much protein it has. First thing I look at. And then I'm like, okay, and then I look at, okay, but proteins per serving, how much grams is that serving? So if I see something like, I don't know, 10 gram, like a serving is like a teaspoon, sorry, a tablespoon or something, and then it's got 2.5 grams, I'm like, this is brilliant, like protein. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I just kind of try and look at that rather than the calories because of the amount that you're having. If the amount that you're having has a really high protein content, then that's, is that
Yeah, it
kind
does
of,
to some degree, but you just want to be mindful of because some labeling is really sneaky with that type of stuff. It'll label it as high protein, but the other calories can blow it out of the park as well.
That's where I get confused.
It's
Can
really,
you can you do a night
because sugars have a
on
lot.
labels, how to read the labels?
yeah.
Holly?
Yeah.
It was like Sharon, you sent me a food label the other day of like 2 protein shakes, which I thought was really interesting because when I first looked at it, it was like there were 2 protein shakes side by side, and one was like per serving, but the second one was per like 4 servings, and it looked like the same size. And when you were reading it, like, oh my God, that actually had a lot of calories per serving, whereas the other one was a single serve. So yeah, we can put together a few different food labels and like put together like how to debunk it. So what Maria was saying, yes, to some degree, you always want to look at the protein amounts, but be like careful looking at like because some things will be like, all right, 20 grams of protein per serve. But that per serve might be like 700 calories because the carbs and fats might blow it out of the park. Does that make sense?
And what would be a good amount of calories then? Say, like if you've got 20 grams of protein in. So,
Yeah.
for instance, I don't know if you saw that picture I sent you today with the Muscle Nation dessert.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I had a bit of a manic day. I did say that.
And I think it has like 26 grams of protein per serve, I think it says.
That's not protein
I read right.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but this is the actual dessert, the ice cream dessert.
It's not just look at the sugar alcohols in those. That's the only thing I would look out for just to see how many. Because I have been there was this ice cream called Halo Top,
Yeah, xylitol.
and
Your face.
I ate so much of it, and I was gassy for days.
The halo.
I haven't actually. I've seen the Muscle Nation, and like 25 grams of protein per serve is great. Even like 25 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs, that would still be fine as well.
I think the calories is about 200, something like
For
that.
the whole tub.
No, I think that's per serve.
Yeah.
I think I'm not 100%. I can't remember now, but
So, like a good way to
I
sort of
remember looking at it thinking is that too high?
No, that was pretty good. It's all relative to your whole day. And that's why a lot of you get caught out like, is this good product? Is this not? But what about the other 85% of your day that you're eating? It's like you want to try and manage your food as a whole. You can definitely make this work. Is it a good product? Yes. But it's like, but what does the rest of your day consist of as well? That's the thing. Like, try and have I don't love the word holistic, but like a whole approach. One meal, one ingredient's not going to matter, but it's the 80% of the rest of the day that's going to.
Yeah, if you have a look at like if you are into reading products and you want to skim through a few and you want to try and find the best one, the best way to probably read it isn't the per serve. If you go to the 100 grams, which every single one of those items will have per 100 grams, and then make your judgment based on that because
I
that
thought that was per serve.
No, wait.
yeah, so what they do is they put a per serve, but you might
Yeah.
not necessarily go back up and read, okay, so per serve is only 25 grams.
Yeah, and that's why, like, when you're comparing two products, it's
Yeah.
best to look at the
Always the
100
100.
grams.
Yeah.
100 grams, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do.
Go the 100 grams because that way you'll have a clear indication they're both the same weight,
Yeah.
but then you'll have the breakdown a lot better. Because each individual serve might differ from one to the other. You might get one that's like a 45 gram serve or another one that's 30 gram serve. but the calorie count might look the same.
Hmm.
Well,
You'll be like,
that was
"Oh,
the
okay,
two.
so this is a better product." Well, no,
Yeah.
over the
That was
100
the two.
grams.
That was the two labels I sent you.
Yeah,
One was a 750 ml bottle. The other one was 475. That was the serving as well as the size of the bottle.
Yeah, straight away.
The
And that,
751 was 250 ml serve. Yeah.
yeah, and that is like, again, that is where they'll trick a lot of people. They'll put more serves into something to bring those calories and numbers down, but actually the serving size is quite small. But it looks like you're getting a good deal, and it's such a large container. You've got 750 mils of milk there, but you're only getting 25 grams of protein. You've got 6
yeah.
grams of carbs and sugars and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. If you go to another one that's like over the 100 grams, you might get, say, 30 of each. And then,
Mm.
Always look per 100 grams, like Georgie and Carl said. It makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah,
this ice cream is really good, so I'm glad.
everything's on an even playing field then, 100 grams.
Yeah, it's across the same.
Mm.
But it comes down to like trying not to micromanage the small things and looking at the bigger picture things. Like looking at, have I had enough food across the whole day? Have I had breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks? And did I think that they were good choices? And it comes down to learning, having that food knowledge and learning to trust yourself is a really important skill to have, but it takes time. It really,
exactly.
really takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. Per serve variable, yeah, 100% is because 100 grams is always consistent across the board. That's what you want to look at. It was like the one that Sharon sent me. I spent ages looking at that. I'm like, hang on a second, something's not right. Yeah.
Show me something like that.
Yeah, I was like,
You know this is per serve, right?
I was like, oh
Well,
my-
see, my husband will drink per bottle. He doesn't look at the servings. He
Exactly.
drinks the
I
bottle.
love milk. I have like this.
Whereas I stop. I can make one of those last 3 or 4
Yeah, you're really.
serves.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, definitely like across the board. Like, I wouldn't go portion sizing like unless you sort of like you are making it for yourself and you are weighing everything out. Then you've got a really good indication of what your protein, carbs, and sugars are per serve. But if you are just looking around as a like broader spectrum, 100 grams is across the board. And then that way you can sort of make your choices off that per 100 grams. You've got a fairly good idea of what the protein versus the carbs are. If they're all like, I guess, like relatively close or low, you obviously, if you're the closer you get your carbs to your protein, you know it's a pretty bit of a balanced meal.
Yeah.
And like one of my clients, Nikki lost 25 kilos with me, and we didn't actually track her macros. What we did with Nikki was she loved eating a lot of food out. I had the rule with her, she could have it, but had to make it at home. And that in itself eliminated hundreds of thousands of calories. Like Nikki, we followed a food structure, but I said to her, she really struggled with like undereating, overeating, and loved to eat out a lot. And I said, look, first of all, every time you like spend money, want to spend money on takeout, transfer it to a different account and use it to spend on yourself doing something nice. But second of all, if you want something, I never want to tell you, no, you can't have it. The rule is going to be, you can have it, but make it yourself. Because then you have so much more control of what's going into it. And if you're wanting to have butter chicken, make it yourself. If you're wanting to have burgers, make it yourself. And there is nothing wrong with doing that. I'm never going to say, no, you can't have something. But when it comes down to trying to control different variables, you actually can make a whole lot more stuff at home and have so much more control over it and feel so much better for it because you know what's going in. And you can usually make it taste pretty good too. You just got to know like different products and ingredients.
But when you say make it yourself, like when you're buying a lot of those pre-made sauces, but then you add, like it says, you can add like sour cream or like cream. It's what you add into it that makes a difference, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Like adding like different creams, like use light cream, like instead of using use spray oil. Like if you like something that's got cream, use light cream. Like the light products, there's a lot of really good ones around at the moment that are relatively low cal. But like honestly, if you like a lot of the ladies love curries and things like that, use the light coconut cream. Like honestly, like
the coconut milk. All it is look, if you can't get light, just go half a can and then half a can of water because that's basically what the light is anyway. It's just you've got a higher water content in it.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys like will love the curries and luxes, and I've seen a few in the food diaries. Like, just make it yourself. Like, I mean, they're so funny. The reason why we don't do many spicy things because I personally hate spicy food. I can't.
Me too.
We make it for our meal prep for the week, and then Carl made this curry once. oh my God, it stunk out the house for a week. And I like am very funny with food smells. Like, but we are going to try, I said to Carl, do a few single serves. So we're going to make you guys happy. Like Nikki did a really good one the other day. We're going to do a few like single serve ones, and then Carl can eat them in his little smelly bubble by himself.